Hello and welcome, everyone. It's time for another amazing, exciting, insightful episode of IT Career in Australia channel. And today's topic is incident response readiness. Readiness build skills for your cyber security career. And wherever you are just starting a cybersecurity or looking to level up, understanding incident response is a key to becoming an effective cyber professional. So in this session, we'll break down what incident response really involves, the essential technical soft skills you need, some cybersecurity trends and industry statistics for this and next year, and give you a bit of ideas about what practical experience you need to gain. So I always encourage you to say hi in the comments, and I always encourage you to share with us if you work in cybersecurity, or maybe you're looking to move into cybersecurity, or actually what you're doing right now. So if you can pop it in the comments, that would be great, because if you're not saying hi in the comments, we don't know that you're here, and it's kind of sad. So we don't want to be sad here. Yeah. So make sure to pop in the comments where you're watching us from and what you do. And just a reminder that I'm Jana Martins, and if you forgot for any reason, if you're watching us on YouTube, make sure to connect with me on LinkedIn. If you're watching us on LinkedIn, make sure to check out the YouTube channel and the meetup group as well, because we have a lot of exciting face-to-face events happening in the different cities. And we're going to talk about it today as well. So the tech walking events coming up. And obviously all the online events get posted in the meetup group too. So I'm really encourage you to join. Mark is here from Auckland. Thank you so much for joining. Sebastian here. Marie's here. Thank you, Maurice. Marie's participating in tech walking as well. Glad to see you here. So anyway, who didn't say hi, make sure to say hi in the comments. And I'm going to pass it to our speakers to introduce themselves. Montii, please, over to you.
Hi, everyone. Welcome and thank you for being here. My name is Montii. I'm the director at Tenedex. I'm a cybersecurity specialist, and yeah, it's good to be here today.
Thank you. Gladys.
Hi, Jana. Thank you so much for having us on your show. And hi, everyone. I'm Gladys, and I'm the agency owner of Ruby Talent. Ruby Talent is an Australian-owned IT recruitment agency. We specialise in building teams from scratch, and we are very proud to support all our national clients from our Wollongong office. So if you are in Wollongong or in Sydney, we would love to see you for our tech walk coming up on Sunday. We'd love to see you there.
Perfect. A few more people saying hi. Perfect. Alan's here. We have a few people joining in the LinkedIn. Jason's here from Sydney as well. And sorry if my LinkedIn comment is not coming straight away, but I can see you on LinkedIn as well, guys. So if you're on LinkedIn, say hi too. And if you're in Sydney, you might consider traveling to Wollongong this weekend too. But more on that a little bit later. So we're gonna dive straight into it. And Montii have a few slides. We're not gonna bore you with the slides, but it's always good to have some key points. And talk about few things, starting with the some incident response, and I guess some key cybersecurity trends and industry statistics. So Montii, over to you.
Thank you, Jana. Yeah, I'll get started, I guess, with the slides. So just a bit more about me. I'm also a PhD researcher at the University of Technology, Sydney, where I teach some of the courses, and obviously I cover incident response and cybersecurity in general. I'm also an educator and mentor at TAFE New South Wales through the IATD program. So I do a fair bit outside of running a consultancy. And yeah, it's good to be here. Diving right into it, or Jana, do you want to get me started, or do you want me to dive right through? Do you have any questions?
Yes, let's take us through, all the main points, I guess. And guys, feel free to ask Montii any questions as we go. And we'll take some questions after the slides as well. But if you have specific question about what Montii talking right at the moment, please make sure to pop it in the comments as well. Yeah, I guess we start with the trends and statistics.
Really good question, I guess, and it leads me to my first slide. The cyber threat landscape is obviously evolving and changing and has been for a number of years. There's been a significant growth in ransomware, which continues to dominate headlines. Started off in the early 2000s and it's been sort of growing ever since. It's almost a business model for malicious actors these days, and I foresee it to continue to grow and be an ongoing problem. Supply chain attacks is another one where malicious actors are starting to move away from targeting organizations directly because it's always easier to target the people that are providing services to them, whether they be companies or other organizations. And with this approach, if there's any weak links in that chain, it tends to be the failure point that leads to attackers breaching an organization. AI, I know it's a buzzword, but I'll say it again, AI and IoT vulnerabilities. So IoT devices continue to grow. Everyone's buying some sort of smart device these days, whether it's a electric toothbrush or a washing machine with Wi-Fi. So IoT continues to be a big problem, and most organizations are still grappling with how to manage the number of IoT devices and, more importantly, to secure them. AI, very interesting one. We're still waiting to see how that pans out, but there's already or has been a number of major vulnerabilities that have been exploited using AI and through AI. So it's another interesting one. And phishing and social engineering threats. So humans always will remain the weakest link. And one way that malicious actors are exploiting that over this period is through phishing emails, voice scams, business email compromise, and they continue to be used to bypass technical controls. It's an interesting area of growth. And I guess that's also leads me into some statistics where over the last year, 61% of organizations have had an incident. That's according to the ACSC, which is quite a significant number. And the average breach dwell time is about 22 days. So it's come down over the years, but 22 is still a very long time. And critically, speaking about incident response, 54% of SMEs lack a tested incident response plan, which is quite alarming.
I'm kind of scared now about the washing machine and the Wi-Fi. So I haven't connected my washing machine to Wi-Fi yet.
Stay connected.
So I'd hold on with that bit. I got the self-cleaning oven. That's how far I went, but it doesn't connect to Wi-Fi. So I'm safe.
For now.
For now, yes. And I guess any big accidents we've seen this year? Anything in particular to mark? I guess we all talk about Optus last year.
We've seen a number this year. One of the critical ones that I've seen is the Western Sydney University breaches. They've had quite a number of breaches this year, which has been quite alarming to see from a large institution, and various others. So that we continue to see a lot of organizations being breached, and it's an ongoing threat globally. So I don't see it going down, unfortunately, anytime soon. And unfortunately, each one is bigger than the other. We saw the Qantas breach as well, which is quite significant. And we're still sort of learning and understanding about what happened. So yeah, there's a number of breaches that have occurred and continue to occur in the Australian and global landscape.
Yeah, I forgot about Qantas. Yeah, that was a big one this year. Yes, yeah. And I guess talk us through the most common failures you've seen in incident responses, and I guess what causing them as well.
Very good question. So look, there are things don't fail on their own. There's always some domain of failure, and we see that in the incident response space with a lack of testing. So a lot of organizations have plans, incident response plans, BCP, DR plans, but they exist on paper and they're never really exercised. And that results into delays in activation, unclear roles when things go wrong, and a lack of direction, I guess, when it comes to dealing with an incident. Another one I've seen over the years and through research is silo teams. So there's a disconnect between IT, security, legal, communications, and that fragmented containment becomes problematic in a large attack, and it results or leads to inconsistent messaging and an inconsistent response to a major threat. Another one is leadership misalignment. So executives are not trained to make time critical decisions, and that can cause major reputational damage and regulatory exposure, not to mention legal exposure. And finally, I guess the fourth most common issue I've seen is metrics deficiency. So how do you measure readiness beyond compliance? And that inability to measure metrics or measure your baseline in terms of how you respond with a incident causes a lot of issues. So they're the four main domains I've seen over the years.
And a lot of them is not directly IT related. Yes, so a lot of them is
the human element.
The human elements, yes. Mark is saying such important topic. I work in the payment authorization and have seen cyber incidents firsthand, so I know how critical it is to have a clear plan and clear responsibility when the things go bad.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And I guess, the Montii, I think you were going to talk us through some, frameworks and standards that probably will help to make those clear plans.
Absolutely. There are things available for organizations to use in terms of frameworks and standards. And look, every framework is a framework and a standard, but how you adopt it in your organization is where it counts. So NIST has a special publication, 861, the Computer Security Incident Handling Guide. It is quite a read, but it is a good read because it gives you the global benchmark for incident response. And it goes through the different phases of preparation, detection and analysis, containment, eradication and recovery, and post-incident activity. And what it focuses on is metrics, logging, and feedback loops. And that's a good baseline to build up any IR function in an organization. We have the ISO 27035 standard as well, and that defines the entire enterprise-wide IR lifecycle, and it provides a governance model to use. It does stress pre-incident readiness, which I'm a big fan of, and continuous improvement. So what you do before the incident and what you do after you have an incident. And this integrates with the ISO 27001 annexes as well, which is really, really useful for organizations that are on the ISO path. The ACSC also has an incident response plan guide, and it basically gives the Australian perspective on the national approach for preparing, detecting, and responding to cyber threats. It does focuses on clear roles, communication channels, and the alignment with the ISM and Essential 8 frameworks for those in the government sector. And cool thing about that, it actually provides templates and guidance to test plans, coordinate recovery, and drive continuous improvement. So there are material and things available to help organizations deal or plan for a incident.
So do you think like anyone who's in cybersecurity, or maybe not even cybersecurity, but working close to, should they at least read those standards and frameworks? So is it like you would think it's like a Bible for cybersecurity professionals, or like you can get away with it?
Look, I think they're not the most interesting reads. I'm going to be very transparent, but I think it's worth scanning or skimming over to understand the key messages around what organizations need, and that'll help you understand what everyone else is doing in the time of an incident. The NIST special publication is available publicly, as is the ACSC's incident response plan. So I highly recommend everyone just to go out, download it, have a quick skim, see what you find interesting, and just generally try to grasp some of the core elements that they're trying to push through.
Yeah. James is asking, what percentage of companies do the statistics say don't have disaster recovery plans?
I'll change that question. I'd say most do, but the question should be how many have actually simulated or tested their IR plan? And that I could tell you is not many. We've seen how organizations deal with major outages, and it's not great, let alone a major incident. So I'd say the bulk have a plan, but most haven't actually tested it through rigor.
So it just became shelfware.
Something in SharePoint.
Yeah. Okay, so what's I guess the next we're gonna talk about why does having an incident response actually important?
Well, I guess I'll go from a career perspective.
Mhm.
For those in cybersecurity, it really enhances strategic capability because you start to see and understand how threats unfold across a SOC, GRC, threat intel, and all those different cybersecurity functions. It really bridges the technical and organizational response by having a deep understanding of how incident response works. You could start to understand and build competencies in translating complex events into executive level actions, reports, and recommendations. And it really shows that you've got the qualities needed to join incident response functions, blue team, or any role that requires coordination and judgment, because the IR space really helps you develop and hone in those skills. For those that are new to cybersecurity, it helps you develop foundational thinking. So you start to understand what happens at point A all the way to point Z, whether it be detection, containment, recovery, and you start to unpack the different technologies, methods, and tools that are available in each of those components, which is really, really good to understand and know. And you start to build analytical and communication skills because you start to think about situational awareness, how teams work and interlink, and how critical reasoning under a lot of pressure works and functions as a core component in your incident response plan. I'm also of the strong opinion that it accelerates employability. IR literacy is very, very important across all domains, especially in entry-level roles, whether it be a SOC analyst role, a risk consultant, even a sys administrator. It signals operational readiness to employers, and it shows that you have a good grasp of what you're dealing with when something does go wrong in the cyber world.
We have some questions actually coming in. Michael saying, why should AI be combined with IT BCP?
Very good question, because with BCP DR planning, you're dealing with things going wrong. Now, as a part of that, you need to understand what system components interconnect and how they interconnect when it comes to developing and running a BCP DR plan. Not all incidents are technical or malicious threat incidents. They could be incidents relating to environmental factors, systems going down at a high level as opposed to a targeted attack. So combining and merging the two gives you a holistic view of what you need to do in certain situations and what you need to do when you need to recover and redeem back to a baseline of good. So having both arms is really, really critical.
Yeah. Mike is saying, as you say, testing the plan is pretend real incident scenario regularly is the key. In my experience, it was as stressful as the real thing. And James is asking, like, wouldn't stress testing, backups, and redundancy be a basic monthly procedure?
Monthly would be quite heavy. I'd say annually at least, and also switching the activities where you try different situations, because each type of simulation will outline different competencies, whether they're good or bad, and then it gives you time to ingest what you find and build it into your IR rubric.
I guess I have a question. You know, we're saying that, you know, it's cool, it's great to have some pretend real incidents and actually, you know, get the whole team go through the incident response. But if your organization not doing it, I don't know, how would you, like, if you're a cybersecurity professional, how do you influence your stakeholders that we really need to do it? We really need to do some simulation, otherwise we won't learn.
That's a really good question. I think at a core level, you need to make noise about what would we do if, and then that if could be something that has happened to another organization. And I'll pick on Qantas, for example, seeing what they went through. If you're at work and they don't have an IR plan, it's fair and valid to ask, hey guys, if we had the same situation unfold, what would we do? And that question can, initiate that conversation, and it gets people thinking at least, okay, if we had to deal with this tomorrow morning, are we ready? Do we have the right mechanisms in place? Do we have the right technology, the right people, the right competencies to deal with it? So generally speaking, by flagging situations to them, you'll be in a really good position to start influencing that conversation.
And what's the percentage of companies you think actually do the?
If I had to, I'll make a very, and this is based on my research, I would say 30 to 40% have an active IR plan that they're testing and working through. 60 to 70 maybe have one, but don't really test it. And that's where the problem lies.
Yeah. And how can like early career professionals actually demonstrate that their readiness for incident responses? You know, if they didn't have that experience themselves, they never been in never had to respond to the incident, how they can actually demonstrate that they're ready to those jobs and stuff.
That's a really good point. There are a couple, but before I jump onto what's on the screen, I also stress that being able to simulate an incident at home is a good way to start. So for those that are in the technical space, having a home lab where you can simulate events and see the logs and work through what happens and how things can unfold is quite important. And then there's professional experience. You can join depending on the organization. If you're not in a cyber role or not in an IT role, most organizations would have a IR simulation or tabletop exercise, the 30 to 40%. You can volunteer to join those within your workplace. Some universities also run them as part of some subjects. You could join blue or capture the flag events. So a lot of organizations run them, and you can see how people triage an incident, how they manage logs, how they contain things going wrong. So they're pretty commonplace. And then through that, you can start documenting your learning. So creating your own post-incident review, reflection summaries, and these demonstrate analytical thinking and communication capability that can really demonstrate your IR knowledge, and also reading the standards that obviously helps. Another area, and this goes back to the lab component, through a build-up of technical literacy, whether it's forensics, SIEM, endpoint tools, soft skills, whatever it may be, you could start looking at different domains that you feel you could grow in and really, really focus on them, whether they be technical or soft, that align to incident response. And that gives you an opportunity to start demonstrating and showcasing those skills. I've already mentioned the frameworks, study them, read them. They're pretty good, and they're actually not that hard to comprehend. That once you read them maybe once or twice, you'll have a fairly good idea of what's involved. So it is the barrier to entry to understanding is pretty low. Where you'll start growing is when you start to think about the different phases and what technology and tools you need to put in place to work through them, which is an excellent research starting point. So that's how I'd approach it.
And Mark also suggesting creating a small pilot project like a tabletop exercise or a short readiness plan for a fictional company. It's a great way to show initiative and gain practical experience.
Absolutely. It's a really good point. And you could tie that into your home lab, or if you join any capture the flag event, you could start using your approach to document how things panned out and work through it.
Perfect. Anything else you want to add, Montii?
No, look, that's it from me. I've only got one last slide. If you want to connect with me, please do connect on LinkedIn. If you've got any further questions that come to mind, I'm happy to answer any questions and any thoughts, any opinions, and all the best with your IR journey.
We'll wait for people to post more questions to Montii, but we also have a few statistics from Gladis today, especially for those who are looking for the next role in cybersecurity. Gladys, please take us through a bit about, what's happening on the market, because I'm sure a lot of people are quite interested to see, I know how to deal with incident response, but I really want a job, yeah?
Exactly right. So, so in addition to Montii's amazing insights, so what I'll be sharing is just, what the Australian cybersecurity landscape will be looking like next year, and also just sharing some insights into what will be the top priority positions for 2026. So that's really exciting what we're projecting, and also the key skills that we need to stay sharp and to stay competitive. So I'll just take you to, the top priority positions. Alrighty, so there's a huge list there, and I'm not sure if anyone's heard, but based on my research, we're expecting at least 30,000 new cybersecurity positions next year. So we can definitely see cybersecurity evolving for mainly for the reasons that Montii mentioned at the beginning. But I'll also on my next slide, I'll be providing more information on that. So so that's looking really exciting. So starting with the top priority and moving down, we have SOC analysts, SOC teams, cybersecurity analysts, AI security specialists, lots of positions in regulatory and governance roles, pen testing, so that's in both red and blue teams. We also have cybersecurity engineers, network architects, security software developers, malware analysts, application security engineer, and some specialized positions in IoT security and AI and automation. And before I move on to the next slide, what we are seeing as well is that organisations are moving beyond simply just adding security headcount. What we are seeing is that they are looking to develop more specialised teams in distinctive roles, so like in SOC teams and so forth. So we're definitely seeing a lot of growth there. Okay, so over to, sure.
Gladys, before we jump to the next slide, I have a question to Montii. Montii, who's AI security specialist this day?
What do you mean? Sorry about that.
What those people doing these days? Yeah, AI security specialist.
There's two types.
We always talk AI everywhere. So
it's a big buzzword. There's two types. There's using AI and there's developing AI. And security specialists, I'd say, fall somewhere in between, where they understand how it works and how people interact with AI technology and how it's influencing and shaping technology. So a lot of vendors are now starting to incorporate automation and AI, or not automation, more AI into their systems. And security specialists in the AI space start to understand how they influence configurations, settings, interactions between technologies. So their main focus is on that bridge compared to a generic security role.
Yeah, makes sense. I'm also curious, is it, with things progressing so quickly, how people even learn those skills? I don't think there's a course on it yet. Yeah, so it's you sort of need to experiment and learn yourself.
You're going to learn by running. It's one of those things where it's moving so quickly. It's at breakneck speed. I think staying abreast at a high level and being engaged in the news, in the technologies, at least at a high level, will be okay for now till things stabilize, because there's a lot of vendors, a lot of technologies in that space. And yeah, you're right. It's going to be hard to pick one thing and specialize in it at this stage of that curve.
Yep.
And just to add to that as well, is, in order to continuously learn, I always encourage my candidates to join cyber groups and communities. They're always really great. Also collaborate on personal and open source projects that you can always buddy up with, whether it's within your team or outside your team, and probably even have a plan every 3 to 6 months you can review, whether it's learning a new AI tool or a new framework. Another thing too is networking. Networking is always critical to learn about new technology and also new opportunities, and of course attend meetups and webinars like this one to continue to advance your knowledge and your understanding.
Yes, and I guess over to the next slide, what we got here, the key skills.
Yeah, so again, in addition to Montee's, why is cybersecurity growing? And as we explore and we understand why it's growing, we're also going to understand the key skills that you will need to focus and build your career to stay sharp and stay relevant and stay competitive. So why is cybersecurity growing? So it's growing due to digital transformations across various industries and cloud migrations, of course, as well across various industries. So having those, building those strategies and those expertise are highly important. As well as, of course, the rise of AI and Gen AI tools and technology, obviously the compliance and that understanding of data privacy, emerging tech security and in AI, ML and IoT. We also have distributed denials of service. Also the way we work, so remote working has obviously impacted cybersecurity a lot, especially since COVID. And we also have security architecture, threat intelligence, incident responses, MDR services are also increasing. And want to mention as well are the growing sectors. So what we are expecting, according to the ACSC report, we are seeing that there's going to be a huge growth next year in healthcare as being the top priority, followed by government, telco, finance, and other emerging industries. So if you are looking for work or you are looking to continue to build those skills, they are probably some of the industries you want to target in order to do that. And also, on my last point, I wanted to remind everyone how the importance of obtaining updated vendor certification. So regardless of what cloud you choose to specialize in, AWS or cloud or GCP, making sure that those vendor certifications are up to date and you've got them. And of course, the general cybersecurity certs.
Yeah, we had a great discussion actually last week on can certification really get you a tech job. I really actually recommend people to check out this one. Young pretty much done most of the certification you can do in every cloud and all 4 clouds, and he's sharing his experience. So definitely, you know, if you're not sure about which certification to start, definitely check out this conversation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Gladys, back to you, yeah.
Sure. And look, there's lots of sites that can really help you get there. So like Pluralsight and again, joining certain groups and collaborating with people that can work together in obtaining their certifications are also really great. And especially for starters looking to start their career, you're definitely going to stand out from the competition if you don't have the experience, but you have that certification. Okay, and just to wrap it up from my end, so here's my QR code. If you haven't connected with me already, please connect with me. Yeah, so just scan the code or send me an email on contact@rubytalent.com.au. So whether you're planning on hiring or looking to build your team next year, that's something that, of course, that's what we do every day. And also, or if you're looking for your next position, and that's where I can also help.
And Gladys, I think probably we have a few questions from the audience, but I have a question before. What did you see? Like, obviously, the market been a bit challenging in the last 2 years for a lot of tech professionals compared to COVID, particularly. Did you see the growth, particularly in cybersecurity? Like, you think that cybersecurity actually have more roles than, I don't know, like your classic software engineering roles, for example?
Oh, absolutely. I am definitely seeing a huge demand in cybersecurity, and I feel that organizations are really understanding that investing in cybersecurity is no longer optional. And also from our research, we're understanding that there will be a growth of about 21% by 2026. So yeah, definitely due to all those reasons why cyber is growing, we're definitely seeing a more growth now in cyber than those other positions. Cloud is obviously still very there, and emerging technologies, AI, data and AI, they're almost at par. Then of course cyber, then software engineering.
Yeah, makes sense. So here we go. So maybe time to get some, certification in cyber. If you're not sure where to do with your career. We have a few more questions from the audience. Mariska asking Montii, do you feel that organizations have cybersecurity change fatigue? How can executives support cybersecurity team?
Change fatigue, I think you're referring to just the changes that are constantly happening in the industry. Yes, if that is what you're referring to, absolutely. I think it's so prevalent and so newsworthy that people just feel like, okay, what can I possibly do? But I think executives, okay, I'm glad that was it. What can executives do? I think they need to take a step back and look at it as a business function, not as a separate component that they need to address. And if they align it with their business goals, suddenly it's part of operating, as opposed to we've got this overhead, we've got to deal with another security product, we need to buy another item. Treat it as part of your operation, and it becomes a lot easier to ingest and manage. And I think executives at a high level have a responsibility to deburdenize it on their teams. And again, by treating it as a business operational component, it makes it a lot easier to support the security teams because they're seen as a core function as opposed to a auxiliary or augmented function within the organization.
I guess the Mark has like a related comment. The frustration is often getting executives to see that while they may view cybersecurity as an overhead that doesn't generate revenue, ignoring it can be catastrophic.
Really good point, because when I speak to executives, it's, if this happened, would you be able to continue as an entity? No, then you've got a problem. Ignoring it is, in some cases, extremely catastrophic. And there was a breach in the UK this year where an organization ceased to exist after the cyber attack. And I'll share the details around it, but it can be that bad where the organization can never recover. So yeah, it's pretty scary.
Yeah. I guess if you're ignoring it for a while, it's always that it will never happen to me. It's not going to happen to me. I'm fine. And
what I tell people, it's like car insurance. If you don't have it, it's pretty bad, and you won't realize how much you needed it till, God forbid, something goes wrong. And it's like, okay, well, I've got insurance, I'm okay. Cybersecurity is the same. You could, get away with not having anything for a while, but even these days, it's quite easy to get breached if you've got nothing. So, yeah.
I mean, there's a few lucky people who go without any kind of insurance whole their life and get away with that. But let's say, you need to look at percentages too.
When you're a big entity and you're generating millions of dollars, do you really want to take that risk? Yeah, that's what it comes down to.
That's definitely the question. Montii, or maybe Gladis as well. What do you think about Udemy for cybersecurity certification and stuff? Did you find that sort of, I don't know, did you have any experience looking at the courses there? Yeah.
Udemy is quite good, but I agree, you need to be a bit picky on which courses you do. I think it's a good, affordable way to expose yourself to different avenues of cybersecurity without committing to a tertiary course or a degree or a program. It's just something you could do in your own time, online. And for most people, it's enough to get the basics covered quite well. So I actually recommend it. It's not a bad platform to use at all.
Yeah. That's probably a question for you, Gladys. Have you seen many sponsorship for cybersecurity opportunities? I know it's been definitely harder for people without permanent residency get jobs because there's more people in the market. But Is the cybersecurity listed in the visa list at the moment? I'm not sure.
Yeah, most definitely falls within technology, IT, and technology. But it's always it's always challenging, and it really depends on the organisations that are open and willing to do that, and where they find that that skill is that there is a specialised skill that they need. Then they will definitely consider sponsorship in that area. Otherwise, a lot of organisations are really investing a lot in that training, building their internal staff, supporting their growth, having those strategies to promote their team and build their experience, as well as taking on grads as well and building them on that experience.
Just Marie saying also love Udemy. So there's a few Udemy fans there. A few more questions. I think we have 5 more minutes to take a few more questions quickly. Govind is asking, how can the recent graduating students get into cybersecurity analysis while studying master degree? As they have many units going around and also manage time for home lab certifications and more. I guess if you would be like Montii, like if you give like, I don't know, top 3 tips, what would be your top 3 tips for graduates?
At the moment, having a home lab is quite critical, I think, because you can demonstrate your skills. And that also, and going back to the question, how do you manage, it's a time management skill. There's a lot to do, especially if you're studying, doing all different certifications. You need to come up with a plan, is probably my second point, and critically follow through with the plan.
I know it sounds like, sometimes sounds obvious to have a plan, but I think so many people actually don't have a plan.
It's like incident response. You need your own plan.
Yes. Actually make that plan of like, what are the roles you're targeting, what companies you want to talk with, like what's your next steps. Yeah, for sure. Gladys, do you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, just having a very clear direction as to what exactly is it that you want to move into, obviously in security analysis. And there's there's so many different ways that you can assess and do your own research as well. You can research lots of organizations, and there's a lot of material you can have a look at as well, just to point you into the right direction.
Yes, and ChatGPT is, not going anywhere either. So you can do a lot of research there. So I guess don't rely 100% on it, but it could be a really great starting point. Even if you need to put that plan, just ask ChatGPT to put this plan first. It's not going to be great, but it's give you something to think and some starting points. So I think it's great of organizing some thoughts. Sometimes I'm just like talking to ChatGPT, whatever, like vomit what comes in my mind, and it sort of structure it, and it already gives me at least some sort of idea where I should start.
Yeah, and just again, what I mentioned before, the importance of networking and collaborating with different people, sharing their thoughts and sharing their journey on how they got there and how do they, where are they working and what steps did they take. That's also really helpful. Because when you learn from these people, you're learning from real experiences, and they can also connect you with the right people as well.
Yeah. Mark is saying the cybersecurity really does start at home, right? Building those habits and awareness in everyday life is great foundation for anyone wanting to move into a cyber career. It's explaining to your grandma why you don't need to put the Wi-Fi in the washing machine. Yeah.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
I just will keep thinking about it every time that I connect something to Wi-Fi these days. I think one more question. Marie is asking, do you think the perception of cyber being a cost center limits employee development opportunity? The appetite to spend money on growing this capability can be a tricky topic to navigate.
Interesting point. I agree, because it's seen as a cost center, as a large overhead, as opposed to again, going back to my earlier point, if it's treated as a business function as opposed to a pure cost center where it's just we need to throw money at this and it's hard to see the ROI on it, it's problematic. But I don't think it fully limits employee development opportunities, because at any organization, you'll do what you can, you'll grow into a certain function and role, and then you'll need to move on. That's part of life and your career journey. So I wouldn't see it as a limitation if the organization has limits on what sort of functions and roles they can offer, but uses it as a starting block into something much better.
Definitely. Just scrolling to see if I didn't miss any questions there. James saying ChatGPT is really unreliable. Every time I ask it for something, I also ask when it went wrong and its response. I usually don't ask ChatGPT information. I usually use it more to organize my kind of like the thoughts and stuff, so that I have like, the starting plan, and I actually search information elsewhere. So I don't like using it for searching actually. But it's amazing how easy it can make your life. So I'm a fan of all AI tools at the moment. Even they can, go in the rabbit hole really quickly. I think that's Vanessa saying is a really specific question. Gladys, maybe you can give her like a quick answer, because it's quite a specific question. But how is it for the British software developer to get a role in cybersecurity in Australia?
Being British shouldn't be a problem. It's just it all comes down to what visa you hold. So depending on what visa, some organisations it's up to them if they are able to provide sponsorship. But I think that it really shouldn't matter where you come from. It's just it all comes down to what visa and the skills that you have. If it's relevant to a specific role and organisation, then hopefully you should be able to be successful in that role.
Yes, and I think Sebastian is also asking if someone looking for the sponsorship, if someone willing to sponsor, he's looking for a job in Australia too. Yeah, that's a tricky one, with the sponsorship. It's never easy. It's never easy, but it's not impossible. Just need to keep trying. Need to going to networking events. Need to keep showing up, and people who are proactive will get their way around for sure.
Yeah, networking definitely does help because it connects you with the right people. And if you come across someone that requires that specific skill set that you have, then you might have a great opportunity where they will offer that sponsorship. There's also different visas now that you can also have a look and have a chat with the immigration. I think it's 487, 457. There's a few there that you can have a look at, which allows you to work in Australia and without any limitations or restrictions. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely a really complicated system here. We actually did have a live stream on the. We had live streams on any topic. You guys, you just need to go to the to the YouTube channel and scroll through. But we did talk with Manuela about the visa pathways for tech professionals in Australia. So I'll recommend to check it out. And with the networking, we're actually going to run a webinar next week with Chris about online networking strategy to land your tech role in Australia. And it will be like quite a hands-on workshop where we're actually gonna help you to build the list to people to contact and help you to craft the messages to connect with people and get some referrals and things like that. So if you're in that situation, highly recommend to join our webinar next week. And we're getting close to the end of our live stream. It's already 50 minutes in. We have a few questions from the on LinkedIn as well. Good presentation, Montii, from Nigel. Shaista saying, I'm looking to restart my career in cybersecurity after 8 years gap, finishing my master's. So it's definitely a few people who join us today in cybersecurity. And thank you everyone for joining. But the most exciting part of the stream is the giveaway. So our usual giveaway, virtual coffee chat with our speakers. So I'm going to make the announcements for next events. And while I'm doing that, our speaker is going to scroll through the comments and pick one person to go for a virtual coffee chat with. And that's, I guess, the opportunity to ask them more questions. So I'm just gonna, obviously I already told you that we're doing the workshop on the 12th of November. The exciting thing happening this weekend on Sunday is a tech walking coming to Wollongong. The new location, and Gladys and Marie gonna run it. So if you're in Wollongong or even in Sydney, so I think it's a great opportunity to have a bit of a weekend away and go for a nice drive to Wollongong and meet some IT professionals for the nice walk along the beach. So yes, let's see how we go with Wollongong, if we have enough tech community there, and hopefully we can make it an ongoing thing. And we will have our usual tech walking in Melbourne. Obviously, we're running it for a while. We have a lot of people joining us. So if you're in Melbourne, make sure to join us on the 23rd of November, and also some events in Sydney and Adelaide coming up before Christmas too. So it's a lot of things happening. Okay, Gladys, did you choose who you're going to have a virtual coffee chat with?
Yeah, I'll choose Vanessa. She asked a question, and I've got some strategies and some tips that I can help her and give her some guidance. So yeah, I'll go with Vanessa.
Make sure to connect with us on LinkedIn with me and Gladys. I'm just also follow up, make sure that virtual coffee chat happening. And LinkedIn, I guess, is the best way to find us. You can see the names on the screen. And Montii,
I'll go with Mark, because he's mentioned some good points and interesting discussion areas. So yeah, I might go with Mark.
Yeah. Perfect, Mark. So Mark is a regular here. I do have him on LinkedIn. I'll make sure I connect and follow up so you guys can do the virtual coffee chat. Thank you. James asking what's happening with tech walk in Bali. Yes, yeah, I think we should consider some Spain maybe as well, Portugal. That would be nice. Gladys, will you come to Portugal for the tech walk?
Portugal, I speak Spanish. It's similar.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, we'll do Spanish. Yes.
We understand each other.
I think that would be the great idea. I was in Portugal last year, so yeah, we'll do Spain this year. So.
Oh, beautiful.
We need someone to speak Spanish for sure. Thank you again, everyone. Thank you for joining. Thank you, Gladys and Montii, for your time today. People saying thank you, people saying thank you on LinkedIn as well. And I do hope that we'll see a lot of people in Wollongong on the weekend.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you haven't been in Wollongong,
you must go.
Place to be this weekend. So
absolutely.
Thank you
everyone for joining us. Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.